Amy Coney Barrett, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter. So help me God.
So help me God.
Right there, you have two people that Joe Biden tried to stop from being Supreme Court justice. And hopefully by next week, after Election Day, the other person that was standing there, because obviously you didn't see it, you heard it, but President Trump was standing there as well. So by next Wednesday, hopefully, all the votes are counted, that it'll be three people Joe Biden's tried to stop from public service and failed.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that, from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
And welcome to another episode of Trend Chat. I am your host, Brian Bledsoe, and if you want to connect with us on Instagram or Twitter, it's at Brian L. Bledsoe, and on Facebook at TrendChat 24/7. So if you didn't know, that was newly Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett that was sworn in by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. So that it finally happened. To be honest, I'm surprised that everything went smoothly, basically, as far as everything, the confirmation hearings and all that, and she was actually confirmed. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't thinking the Republicans would be strong enough to even do that, and that they would find any excuse to try to not fill the seat. So, but that's just how little confidence I have in a good number of Republicans, but they proved me wrong. And I'm glad for that. But now the fact that you have Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed, I know I was seeing a lot where they were saying it's a 6-3 conservative majority now, which I chuckle because by saying 6-3, you're putting Chief Justice Roberts in that conservative majority, and I will say it is at best 5.5, which is better than nothing. But I'm just saying, it's that one supposed conservative in there, I don't really trust the Chief Justice, especially if it comes down to something that goes against precedent, because he seems to value precedent over the Constitution. I would just say he values the opinions of previous Supreme Court justices as opposed to what is written in the Constitution, as opposed to how the founders wrote the Constitution. But anyway, that being said, it's still, like I said, it's better than nothing. So as far as how she's going to vote on various issues, just like Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. It's just time will tell. I mean, we'll see where she falls on different cases as they come to the Supreme Court. And I know one thing from both sides, conservative, liberal, and whatnot. The main issue was talking about abortion and Roe v. Wade and all that. And if she's confirmed, Roe v. Wade is going to go away. You know, I believe it when I see it. I think it's a better chance of it happening, but we never know. And when it comes to Republican appointed justices outside of Trump, because we don't know yet until we get a couple more cases with these three, the track record hasn't been great, because as I mentioned about John Roberts, he was appointed by George Bush, George W. Bush, and so I am optimistic. I'm more optimistic than most in most issues, most situations. In this particular situation, and I tell you, I mean, if that happens, say for instance, if a couple of years from now or next year, who knows, and out of the three, I mean, the fact that it's three that was replaced during the Trump administration in the first 4 years, if Roe v. Wade is overturned, and then you have other cases and other policies, other cases that go to the conservative point of view, or an originalist point of view, or constitutionalist point of view. And if that happens, I mean, that's the ultimate validation for me for voting for President Trump back in 2016, because that was one of the major issues for me. It was judges that were going to be appointed, not only just Supreme Court, but it's lower court judges as well that was going to be appointed. That is what persuaded me, outside of what, because I was skeptical back in 2016, mainly because of, a lack of record. That's really what it was about. It wasn't about anything else. Because whether you want to talk about personality and all of that, that's secondary. It's important, but it's not the main issue. I'm looking at policy. And so back in 2016, I didn't have a record to go on to make a decision. So I was skeptical as far as how he was going to govern and all that. But one of the things that I definitely wanted, as opposed to Hillary making the choices, was when it comes down to judges. And now here we are with three. I mean, you have Gorsuch, who replaced Scalia, which was just, it was a conservative for a conservative. And then you had a swing vote, which was Justice Kennedy, that was replaced by Kavanaugh. And now you had a staunch liberal, progressive, in Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that was replaced by Amy Coney Barrett. So that right there, I mean, there are a number of plenty of things I could mention as far as why I have no problem as far as voting for President Trump for re-election. But this right here, with three Supreme Court justices, and also like I said, all of these lower court judges that were appointed as well, and that is a lasting legacy. That's something I brought up at a interview a couple of months ago, is that is going, and when I say a lasting legacy, it could be good or bad too now, because it could be, some years pass by and these judges, or a good number of them, turn out to be just closet liberals, and that will be the legacy of his administration as well. So anyway, that is out the way finally. And hopefully, who knows? I mean, if President Trump is reelected, he could appoint another. And because right now, Justice Thomas, I think, is the oldest on the other 9, I think. And I mean, you have a pretty young, relatively young Supreme Court right now. You have Sotomayor, you have Kagan, you have let's say you have Barrett, you have Gorsuch, you have Kavanaugh, then you have Alito, then Justice Thomas. Hold on, I'm trying to count it out right there, live right now. And yeah, I forget to mention we're live right now, and here I am trying to basically do that do that test where people are where they're tested on how many Supreme Court justices you know, and a lot of people fail. Hey, I've got the 7 and I'm missing 2. I said Leo. Okay, I'm not. Someone is probably listening right now. It's just like screaming the other 2, or I maybe miscounted. Either way, but yeah. But that being said, it is a young Supreme Court right now. With most of them are not in their 60s or even 70s, but you have, like I said, Justice Thomas, I think, is the oldest one, and who knows if President Trump is reelected. We could have the same situation, not to the degree of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but somewhat, where if President Trump is reelected, people will be like, okay, Justice Thomas, we love you. Like, I mean, of the justices, he is one of my favorites for all his opinions and his opinions on various cases and whatnot. And I can imagine if President Trump is reelected, that people kind of want to ask Justice Thomas, you think you want to, might want to think about retirement a little bit within these, this last 4 years, just in case. Just want to make sure we don't want an RBG situation. just putting it out there, I know you want to serve as long as you're healthy and all that. We just think about it. but yeah, so like I said, I'm glad that we're at this point now, and regardless of what happens in the election, that right there, with judges and 3 Supreme Court justices within 4 years, that is great. And it's great right now. Like I said, time will tell how great it will be. But as I mentioned, we are live, which I didn't mention, which we don't do many live episodes. And also, not only that, this is one of 2 episodes this week. And it's not only this week, it's within 2 days, because I'm going to have another episode this Sunday. And that's actually why I'm doing this episode in particular. Well, 2 reasons. One reason is because I want to get all of what I want to say out of the way, because the next episode on Sunday is just one interview, because the interview is over an hour, and I will say it's one of my favorite interviews, and I'm looking forward to playing that. But I want all of that time to go towards the interview, so I'm just gonna say what I was going to maybe touch on a little bit. I'm just gonna do it now, and then do a whole episode with just the interview. And also another reason is, here we are. This is episode 188, and we're getting close to 200, which is that's the number that we're still planning to stop at, which will probably be around the 1st of January. I hope to be around the March for Life, when the last episode will come around. And one reason why I even continue throughout this year in particular is, I have no problem, because I enjoy doing the podcast. It's, here I am in Iowa in the truck, and I love doing the podcast. But there was a point last year where I was just going to think I'm just going to stop. But I did consider that we were coming up on an election year. I had no idea we was going to be dealing with COVID too. But with this election year, I felt that no matter how big or small someone's voice is, that I think everyone should be out there making their their points known and being out there during this election year. So that's why I just said, okay, I'm just gonna go one more year, or just go to the end of this year. That's just where I'm at right now. But I mean, we'll see. I'm pretty set on it now, I guess. but yeah. So, given that was my reason, was because of this election. Well, given that this is the last week before we get to this coming Tuesday, I should do at least. I was thinking of doing 3 episodes actually, but no, we're just doing this one and the next one on Sunday morning, hopefully. So now, one thing also, I know what we're going to touch on a couple of things. One of those is the big tech hearings that happened a little bit. Also, as of last night, I saw a tweet that just blew up. Rapper Lil Wayne endorsed President Trump. It wasn't where you had someone like Ice Cube where it said he was just working with the president, and that was taken as an endorsement, or someone like 50 Cent who said, kind of endorsed him, which he has retracted, if I'm not mistaken, in the past couple of days. But yeah, so it's not. You had like a picture of him standing next to the president with an endorsement from Lil Wayne, which is like, it's a little surprising, not too surprising really, in which I'll actually get into that in a minute. But yeah, and also a little bit about debate. I know that was last week, but just a little bit. And so all that after this word from Young Americans Against Socialism.
Hey guys, this is Morgan Zegers, the founder and CEO of Young Americans Against Socialism. We are a nonprofit organization working to preserve a free, fair, and prosperous America for generations to come, all by equipping our generation with the truth about socialism. If you're interested in watching our educational videos, donating to the cause, joining the Ask Coalition, or becoming a contributor, you can do all of these things at fightsocialism.org. We hope you'll join us in this crucial fight for the future of our great country. Thanks!
Hey, it's Lawrence Jones with Fox News. Check out Trend Chat with my brother Brian Bledsoe.
We here at Trend Chat, we are proud to be part of the 1776 militia. Check out 1776united.com. They have a wide array of clothing, hats, shirts, art, and more that is fiercely patriotic and stylish to match. Go to 1776united.com, and if you put in the code TRENDCHAT, you get 20% off your first purchase. Again, 1776united.com, put in the code TRENDCHAT for 20% off.
All right, so the debate last week, really, I listened to it as I was on the road, but I would say it was better than the last one. It was more structured. It was more focused on issues and everything. The whole muting the mic seemed that didn't really. Well, it seemed like it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. I guess I was thinking, because the way they explained it is that they were going to get 2 minutes and then they were just going to cut the mic, but that's not what happened, because you had a bunch of back and forth. It wasn't as much as the Chris Wallace one, and I thought the moderator was better. Then again, comparing to that moderator to Chris Wallace, it's not much. So because that wasn't great at all. But there were a number of things. Just thinking about one, you had. I should have got this actual clip, because when the debate actually happened, I don't think people caught what he said, because you had Joe Biden talking about, he was just saying, I don't know where this guy coming from or whatever like that. And then the president quipped in real quick and said Queens. And I heard it and I just thought it was funny. But I don't think many people heard it because it was all within all the cross talk and talking over each other. And also there was one thing in talking about, I guess, in talking about legal immigration and President Trump bringing up about coyotes and all of that. And then you have this staffer, I forget her name, I forget whatever her name is, but I think maybe you probably seen the tweet where she heard that from the president and she thought he was talking about actual coyotes. I don't know if she was joking or not. I don't know. I would hope she was joking, but maybe she wasn't. She seemed serious in the tweet at least. But she was making it seem like he was talking about actual coyotes bringing illegal immigrants across the border, and because she was like, just stop talking. Basically saying that he's dumb for saying that actual coyotes, which that's not the case. The term coyote is talking about people that are the people who are paid to bring people, illegal immigrants across the border. They pay these people and they show them the route, they show them where to go and give them what they need to get across the border. And those people are called coyotes. So, but as many people who were just mocking her for saying that and just going and I saw all sorts of memes like actual coyotes and with kids on the back of them and all that, and Wile E. Coyote memes and all that, and although it was funny and everything, but on the other hand, look, I don't blame people who for not knowing about terms like coyote, because for one, they don't care about the legal immigration, or like I said, or just being deceitful and trying to act like he's talking about actual coyotes and just being deceptive as far as trying to make it seem like he was talking about that when very well that's not what he was talking about. But but we're talking about people with Biden, Harris, and Democrats, like they don't care about illegal immigration in the sense of, at least as far as trying to stop it, enabling it maybe, but the fact that especially people, a good number of people, especially people who are voting Democrat, I'm not surprised that they don't know all these terms, because that's not something they are told about. And one, they probably don't even care about that particular problem. So the fact that they don't know these terms that surround the issue of illegal immigration, I'm not surprised. And I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's not surprising. So yeah, that was I mean, there was other, it was a 2-hour debate. So, but and plus you probably heard plenty since last week. But that's just just the things I was just thinking about. I'm still thinking about just the coyotes thing. But also, so one thing, as I mentioned earlier, that when we had, I guess we can go back to Kanye and talk about like rappers in particular, I guess, because this kind of is the trend right now in the way what you see in rappers in particular. And so we could go back to Kanye, even though now he's he's on the ballot in 10 states, but this was like a year or two ago, even before that, because he went to Trump Tower back in 2016 and all that. But so we can go back to Kanye, and then he, MAGA hat and all that, and and how how that was received and how people lost their mind, especially black Twitter, black social media in particular. All of a sudden, his mental capacity was in question just because of that, even though he was doing crazy stuff before. But now all of a sudden we care about his mental capacity because how dare he even consider being supporting a Republican. And then now, a couple of weeks ago, you have Ice Cube, where, like I said, he just said that he's working, that he called the Trump administration, and parts of what he's planning, what he wanted to do for the black community was put into President Trump's platinum plan for the black community. Just that alone was considered an endorsement, especially amongst black people. Like that, right? That was just too much right there, just to say he was working with the president. That, like I said, wasn't even an endorsement. And then you have 50 Cent. Then he saw Biden's tax plan, and I don't know why that was new all of a sudden. That wasn't nothing new as far as seeing the tax plan. But maybe that was the first time him seeing that. So, and by seeing that, he decided, oh, I can't vote for someone that's wanting to take over 60%, especially if you live in New York. And then he said that, vote Trump and all that. But like I said, in the past couple of days, it seems that he has retracted that by saying, F Donald Trump or whatever like that. I don't know. Maybe he was joking about that. I don't know. Maybe he was joking about the first part. But last night, then you have Lil Wayne with just an outright endorsement. And anyway, it's I'm not really, you're not gonna see me posting any of this, which I haven't really, of any of all of this. One, because I think just because someone says something one time, I don't just take it as, okay, this person is all in and all that. And okay, if that's true, great. But when it comes to celebrities in particular, especially, they're very quick to jump right back over the line, get back in line with the progressive. I mean, mainly because, and this isn't just for these few right here, just anyone that has an opinion or say anything that is outside the progressive Democrat liberal narrative in Hollywood in particular, you're going to have a lot of people who are, around them, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people, just by being in the entertainment industry, you are surrounded by liberals and progressives, I would say probably on a daily basis. And if you said something like that, all of a sudden they're going to start, pulling at you, saying, don't do that, don't. And then they're going to feed you a whole bunch of crap about, you shouldn't do this because of that or this. And I mean, that's one way they try. That they try to be nice about it. On one hand, you have the people, especially the friends of these people, will try to be nice and saying, or, you shouldn't do this because, they'll say Trump is a racist. How dare you do this because of this and this, and they'll bring up a whole bunch of other stuff. And that's the nice way they'll do it. Then the other way is where they will just outright threaten their livelihood. So you could say someone like Ice Cube, right? He has this basketball league, and I could very well see sponsors dropping from the league as far as supporting the big three league that he has. It's a basketball league where he has recently retired NBA players, basketball players, and they go around the country where they were before COVID. They'll go around the country and play games of 3-on-3. And it was, I've seen a couple of games on Fox Sports. I actually went to one in Dallas, and it was entertaining. And so I could see where you will have some of these corporations, especially all these woke corporations that come across that say, well, we are not going to continue sponsoring, your league because you decided to work with the president. I can see that happening. I mean, also given the fact he works in Hollywood as far as, being an actor, like and a producer and all of that. He has that Friday movie. I think he's still trying to make that other Friday movie. I can see a lot of studio execs all of a sudden not wanting to be a part just because of this. And all of this could happen behind closed doors because it's not going to be something you'll see on Twitter or anything like that. But all of these things that are happening. I mean, he's still, I've seen him. That he still do shows as far as he's still out there rapping. He does shows every now and then. I can see venues just canceling the show, not wanting to have them at their place because of this. So yeah, it's just stuff like that. And that's just Ice Cube. So think about 50 Cent and all of them. It's just kind of all the same tactics that Hollywood and entertainment industry would use. And given that Lil Wayne he did this the past couple of hours now, I'm pretty sure the same thing is probably happening to him right now. All of that. So, and I'm guessing he probably, I would hope he thought of the reception that was going to happen. I'm pretty sure he's seen it happen to other people. Maybe not. I don't know. A lot of these entertainers live in this bubble where they just have no clue, and then all of a sudden they're shocked, and all these people are coming at them like, "How you doing this? Like, you didn't see what happened to everybody else?" But like I said, they live in this bubble, and they now the people that are around them probably when they saw it knew what was going to happen, but yeah. So we'll see. Who knows? By the time you're hearing this, Lil Wayne maybe has burnt that picture and has done a total 180. And or maybe has become emboldened and gone even further. Who knows? Yeah, it's it could go either way. And that's another reason why I don't really get all worked up into it. It is kind of funny because I'm seeing it just blew up on social media, especially amongst conservatives and all that. And okay, yeah, it's nice, but it's not something I just go start craving mad about. But I'm like, yeah, okay, that's okay. Because one thing I was thinking is that, and President Trump has brought this up a couple of times, and as far as before he ran for president, you had rappers, putting his name in songs and basically saying they want to beat Donald Trump for years. It was just when he decided to become it was because he decided to run as a Republican, let's put it that way. Not because he decided to run for president. Because if he would have ran as a Democrat, they would have been writing even more songs about him if he ran as a Democrat. But it was just because he decided to run as a Republican, all of a sudden they just either just outright turned against him like Snoop Dogg, where they were just out there, doing mock assassinations of the president, and other songs as well, where they were just like F Donald Trump and all that. And so, but then you also where they were just some that just didn't say anything or just left it alone back in 2016. And I think it kind of goes back to where one, they were this, just going back to where they were getting fed by a lot of people around them, just in general, about the president and all that, and they just believed it and went along with it back in 2016. Now you had over 3 years, and they were able to see with their own eyes the results and see the things that he's doing, and some of them are like, okay, I can, all these things that were being fed to me are not true, or at the very least exaggerated. And so now you're having some who are actually coming out. Yeah, I think you have other rappers. Another guy, what's got Little Pump? I don't know who that was, but you have rappers who are coming back around. Some of them, or at least, coming back around where they're actually saying, if they're not endorsing, they're like at least open to it. And so that's why I just think what has happened now. But like I said, then again, who knows what's going to happen? They're going to get all sorts of backlash and all. And I mean, for another thing, it could be done just to be, I guess, to get more tweets and get more of a social media following from all of this. And so I mean, it could be just that. It could be a number of things. Anyway, I go on and on about that. But now another thing before I guess we get to the next break. I know one thing I definitely want to play in these next couple episodes, because is when I've been playing a promo from the Founder Project for, I think it's probably the first one I've been playing since I had, Trend Chat started. And, I think you should, really take the time to listen to this one in particular, because it talks about civics. And it's something that we are in desperate need of. And so, anyway, we'll talk about big tech and other stuff, and trying to think Mandalorian and all of that. So, and also we'll get to the locations as well. So, here's a word from the Founder Project.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
What's going on, folks? This is Colin Noir, and you're listening to Trend Chat.
So you want to keep America great, but you don't know where to go to get some Trump-centric gear? Check out TrumpMug.com. And if you put in the code TRENDCHAT, you get 10% off. So at TrumpMug.com, they have flags, coins, mugs, of course. So go to TrumpMug.com, put in the code TRENDCHAT, get 10% off. Again, TrumpMug.com with the code TRENDCHAT for 10% off.
All right, so earlier this week, all the big tech CEOs and executives were, they weren't brought into DC, because now we're doing virtual hearings now. So it was, basically just a Zoom call. And so they were brought in to explain, I guess, or at least to defend why they have special immunity in part of the Section 230 in the Communications Decency Act, and kind of centered around the New York Post story about Hunter Biden and his laptop and emails and all of that, which, if you are just getting your news from CNN and mainstream media, you probably never even heard of nothing I'm just saying right now. So and I can't even say Google it, really. I guess DuckDuckGo it. That's another search engine. But because when that story came out, you had Twitter basically, suppress that story in particular, and it was just another example of where they were acting as the arbiter of what is true or false, similar to what Facebook is doing with their quote unquote independent fact checkers. And See, and for me, it's a simple issue because unfortunately I'm hearing even amongst conservatives where they're asking for more regulations and laws and all that. And I mean, and Democrats don't care at all. They want, because it helps their cause, where these tech giants are out here suppressing mostly conservative voices. So they're not going to say anything. But in this hearing, you definitely had, and this is a clip I should have pulled for this, but I forgot, of Senator Cruz, where he just went at Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey about the New York Times or New York Post story. And the one thing about all of this, just for me personally, and this is something I've been mentioning a couple of times, and it's something I was, to a small degree, I mean, it's nothing to where what happened to PragerU and other major, conservative outlets, but it did happen to me a little bit, as far as trying to post ads or I was suspended off of my Facebook page last year for about 30 days. So, and for what, like, I don't post anything inflammatory. I go out of my way not to, actually. And it's not because, I just don't do that, because I have the view of, I see it as what I want the same thing happen to me. It's kind of like the golden rule, I guess. And so I just don't post a lot of, like, I guess, cartoons, caricatures of people and all that. I just don't, because I don't, I wouldn't like it if someone did to me. And so, and I don't take the thought of, like, okay, because they did it, then that gives me license to do it. No, if I didn't like it, like them doing it, then I'm not going to do it back. It's similar, actually, given that we're around Halloween. I just thought about this. So there was a picture of someone in their, I guess, Halloween get up for their car or whatever, and they had this mannequin on the front of a truck or something like that, and it had like a, it looked like a person, and on the back of it, it had Antifa on it, And I saw that circulated around, and everyone thought that was so funny, and whatever. But then, in the past couple of days, there's been another picture been circulated around where there's, a similar sized truck, but it had President Trump splattered in the front of it, like, so basically making it seem like he just ran over the president. And so that was considered distasteful. and see, that's what I'm saying right there. See, I don't think neither one are good. They both are distasteful. I didn't like that one, and also don't like the other one. So that, anyway, getting sidetracked. But yeah, I don't really post nothing like that really on my page. So I still to this day still don't know why I was suspended for those 30 days. And so when it comes to Facebook, Twitter, Google, all these, like I said, all these big tech companies, for me, really, it's not even about, for one, it's definitely not about adding more regulations, not about adding more laws and all of this, and more restrictions and all that. That's a Democrat thing. That's what they do. They're the party of all of regulations and restrictions and adding more laws to everything. No. One thing I'm talking about is just stripping a part of Section 230. So stripping the part that has special immunity for these companies. So they're not, as of right now, they're not held accountable. You can't sue them for what they consider true or not, for what they're doing right now. You can't sue them because they have special immunity in that Section 230. As of right now, you can't sue them because they're not considered a publisher. They're not considered a publisher like Washington Post, CNN, New York Times, like, you know, any publisher like that. They're considered a platform. But as a platform, they are supposed to just be basically kind of like a community board at your town or city. So, you know, you have that community board, and everyone can just put whatever they want, whatever advertisements, this is going on, or this and that. They can just put it up there on that board, and that's it. And that's what these companies are supposed to be. Just that, a global community board where people can just put what they want on the board. But that's not how they have been acting, especially in the past 10 years, I would say. Now they're acting like they're a publisher, where they're choosing what you can have on there and what you can't. And so, and look, I can understand some things as far as like maybe graphic violence or, child pornography, nudity, and all that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about there are stories that doesn't even involve any of that. It just they're taking it down because they're like, okay, we think that is not true or whatever like that. And in that case, that now they're acting as a publisher, and they should be held accountable. They should be susceptible to being sued just like any other. Just like you had with the Covington Catholic kid, with Washington Post or CNN, where he sued and he got a settlement, but a person can't do that right now when it comes to Facebook and Twitter. They just have to, because they're considered a platform, they have that special immunity. So that's the thing I'm talking about. Take that part out and have them to be accountable and let them defend themselves in court. If like I said, if a PragerU is or like a big conservative outlet or even a small one, if they have the means to sue them, they should have that option for that to happen. And so I think that's one thing that should happen. And hopefully, if President Trump is reelected, maybe that would actually become reality. It also depends on what happens as far as the races in the House and the Senate, because that let's not forget, there's more than just a presidential election. There's plenty of other races that are going on. And so if Republicans hold a majority in the Senate, and if they somewhat get the majority in the House, which that'll be something, maybe that will be a reality as far as actually stripping that part out of Section 230, and these Facebook, Twitter, and all of them will actually be held accountable for what they consider to be right or wrong on their platform and all that, what on their outlet and everything. Maybe they should now if they would go back to where they would just leave everybody alone, okay, then there will be a platform and there will should be no problem. But that's not what they're doing. So because like one thing, if you post anything contrary about COVID this year, that was something they will take down, regardless. I mean, if it's something that they deem is not true or what, and it's very one-sided too, because the companies that they're using, especially Facebook, they're using these companies, and a lot of these companies, they're not quote unquote independent, and as far as they try to make it seem like these fact checkers are objective, which they're not. And so if you go outside of the mainstream narrative about whatever news about COVID this year, they will strip it. They would either throttle the reach where it doesn't go out to as many people just because that's what they think is that it shouldn't be out there. But that's not, it shouldn't be their job to make that choice. That's up to the people who are, if they look at it, it's up to them if they either want to accept it or not, do their own research. But here they are. I mean, they're basically acting as the government, where they're just holding everyone's hand and not leaving it up to the people to have personal responsibility as far as any of these stories that are coming out. So one thing I was thinking about is as far as COVID goes, let me just say this too. It's funny because the title of this episode is Self-Inflicted Wounds, and reason why I even chose that is because we're at this point now, just talking about COVID, where a lot of people wanting to blame COVID on a lot of things that are going on. And at this point, that's really not the case. Like, we're doing it to ourselves at this point. As far as what we are allowing these states through these governors, especially like up in Michigan and California and all that, where we're at the point now that anything that, if we're not able to do certain things or whatever, that we can't travel or can't go to church or whatever like that, at this point you basically are doing it to yourself, because you have allowed so much and have just allowed these governors to restrict so much of our freedom. And like I said, I think I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago. After that first 2-week shutdown, where everything was shut down, and like across the country, because as a truck driver, that was surreal. Because I still remember, I don't know if I mentioned this on here, but going through Chicago, and it was rush hour in Chicago, and I drove through there with no traffic, and that's just unheard of. But that was during the 2 weeks. I remember driving through Houston, there was no traffic on the road. It's like it was just trucks and Uber drivers. and that was it. But yeah, after those 2 weeks, once we did that initial shutdown, just give us the information, and then after that we take some personal responsibility and move forward with our lives. If the people who are higher risk, then they should stay home, but everyone else should live their lives and move forward at that point. But that ain't what we did. I mean, we just kind of just went along with especially with the states in particular. And it's funny because you hear so often, especially amongst the left and Democrats, like where they would talk about President Trump being a fascist and a dictator and all that. And during all this, President Trump didn't act like a dictator, and they were upset about it. Like, they called him a dictator. They said that he was such an oppressive president and all of that. And then when he didn't act as a dictator, now they want him to be a dictator. Like, you said all of that like it was the most evil thing a person could be, which is true, to be a dictator. They were calling him all that, and now they wanted him to act as a dictator when it came to COVID. So, but on a federal level, he didn't. He resisted a lot. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people up in Washington that wanted him to just shut the country down, which, if Joe Biden is elected, that's what's going to happen. And it's not, he care less about everyone's rights or freedom, especially. He's going to shut the country down and and that's kind of what they're doing right now, as far as that's their pitch right now for the election. Joe Biden is pretty much going around saying, if you want to go back to church, or you want to go back to normal life and all of that, or also in the sense of talking about the riots and everything, do you want peace in the streets? Then vote for me. So he's basically holding the country hostage in a sense, where he's saying like, well, if you don't vote for me, my supporters are going to get mad and start burning stuff down. So you better vote for me, so so my supporters won't get mad. Or you better vote for me, and I may allow you to go back to church, or I may allow you to go to to concerts or whatever like that. And saying that because also you have a number of governors that are going along with this, like Gretchen Whitmer, whatever her name, in Michigan, the dictator. Now she's a dictator up there in Michigan. And I would hope that the response to, let me just say first thing, the virus is very much real. I know people who had the virus. I understand that the virus is real, but I will say this has also been an overreaction at this point. So I hope the response from voters to this overreaction to this pandemic and how they were just so willing to trample over your freedom and over your rights. I hope enough people would realize that and realize which party it's coming from, for one. Realize that too. And that maybe that will be a turning point in this election where people like, I'm not going to vote for those people anymore. And maybe that will help out in the election as well. So yeah, like I said, at this point, if you're upset about not being able to do whatever you want right now, as far as maybe you wanted to go to that concert or go to or take that flight or whatever like that, and you still can't, at this point, we're pretty much doing it to ourselves as a country. So that's the self-inflicted wounds that we're are doing to ourselves and the economy and across the board. And it's not just economic either. You're having people where, you can link the economic to the personal, because people are out of a job, and then there's so many issues that are surrounding this where we definitely need to be looking more towards safely getting back to normal, because there are ways to do what we're to at least get to some level, as opposed to being all cooped up. Like I said, unless you're a high risk, and unless you're one of those people to have those conditions that put you at high risk for COVID at this point, until there's like a treatment or a vaccine or whatever like that, those people in particular, yeah, they should take a lot of precaution. Outside of that, everyone else should basically, live their lives and go about their business. So,
the founder and president of Expressions Magazine, letting you know that you can order our quarterly magazine and support female conservatives by visiting express-conservatism.com, or you can follow us on social media. On Instagram with the username of expressions_conservemag, or on Twitter with the handle of @express_conserve. Get your copy today.
This is Sarah Gonzalez, and you are listening to Trend Chat.
Trend Chat is proud to be a part of the hashtag Life Tribe or Cultural Life as they seek to celebrate life through the world of fashion. Go to COL1972.com and get 10% off your purchase when you enter the code TRENDCHAT.
Alright, so yeah, I got all of that out. So before we go, as we're recording this, the Mandalorian season 2 has started, and man, I'm looking forward to watching. I mean, it's already available. I've already downloaded it and ready to watch it. Ready to see Baby Yoda. Ready to see. I don't know if I mentioned. I probably have that. I was planning to be in Anaheim this year. Just going back to things that were affected because of COVID. The Star Wars celebration was going on. I was supposed to go to that, and that was going to be my first time going to this. And if you don't know, it's a celebration. Star Wars celebration is basically like a Star Wars convention. That's what all it is, really. And I was going to go to that, and that was canceled. It was canceled to 2022. Like, they went another year, but because of that, they had some exclusive merchandise if you wanted to purchase, and I bought the little Mandalorian stuff, and so. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the first season, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And it's definitely is something of a distraction. I mean, you have the first episode this week, and then after that, election is over. And so, I mean, for people who are listening right now and that are, out there block walking, out there doing whatever they can right now, one thing I would just say is, one, continue, keep it up all the way till election day. I went block walking because I'm a precinct chair in Tarrant County, and I went out, block walked my precinct and everything, told people about, early voting, which in Texas, today is the last day. Today is Friday, the 30th. Today is the 30th, and it's the last day here in Texas. But yeah, I'll say just keep doing the work, especially this upcoming weekend. Get out there, and keep working. Regardless of what the polls say, whether they're up or down, whatever. I don't care if the polls said Trump is up 20. Keep doing the work. If Trump is down 20, keep doing the work. Do the work until the end. And it just goes back to one of my favorite quotes. The duty is ours and the results are God's. So let's do do our job, do what we need to do, and just keep it up and see what happens on see the results on election day. Like I said, we have another episode coming up on Sunday, so we will be talking about voting your theology, and I am very excited about getting playing this interview, which we did. We're going to talk about, as I mentioned, just voting your theology. And so and matter of fact, before we go to I don't know if you heard that, but I was just about to end it, but I wanted to make sure, because we haven't done it. Well, we did it, but I was doing it off the top of my head, but this time I got the list again. So we're gonna, there we go. You know what that means. If you've been listening, you know what that means. So the locations right now, and wow. So I'm looking at the city right now. So there's one city, I don't know, I cannot say this name. It's in India, but it's, man. It's start with a B. It's a very long name, and it's BHUBANESWAR India. Sorry. If you're one of the people who live in that place, send me an email with the phonetic way of saying that. So then Eugene, Oregon, Indore, India, Lucknow, India, Lumberton, Mississippi, Pune, India, Mumbai, India. I do know where that is. Virginia Beach, Virginia, Vernray, Netherlands. Never seen that one. And Washington, Virginia. And then as far as the countries go, it's only 3. It's the Netherlands and India. For a good chunk of it is India, and then United States at like just 50%. Wow. So yeah, that's right on time. There we go. So So we got those locations out. Just wanted to make sure I got that out. But like I said, we have our next episode, which will be on Sunday morning, hopefully. But on Sunday, and it'll be on Voting Your Theology. And we'll be talking with a pastor. And, I've been going to their church as much as I can, as far as being on the road. And so we had time to talk, and we did an interview on voting and also the Reformation. So you're hearing this on the 30th. I know I mentioned Halloween, but for me, it's all about Reformation Day. So I say Happy Reformation Day for the rest of y'all heathens out there. I'm just kidding. But look, Happy Halloween. I guess you go out there trick or treating as much as you can, at least during COVID. I don't know. So until next time, we'll chat with you later.